And we are back, episode 156 of Journey to a Million here on this Wednesday evening. Myself, Drew Skyberg, joined alongside not one, but two Zack Rausches tonight. Double trouble in honor of a double cheeseburger, right, from Culver's. And
for you,
Jared Valleskey also
for you.
I'm on a diet.
So we have a full squad here. Well, it's just funny, Zach. There's two of you.
Yeah, I'm just so cool. You guys need to double me.
Yeah,
you
can run with that idea.
Yeah. So
whatever helps you sleep at night.
You know, having an off week last week, we got some great news to talk about over the last couple of weeks, right on the NFL side.
I think the last time we recorded is when me and Jared made a trade.
Was that when?
Was that the last time? Was that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we made a trade.
Oh yeah, it was right after. It was the
Mr.
Jacobs.
Commissioner. Yeah,
and then today we'll talk through some tight ends and dispute that. But it sounds like we'll be disputing something else right now in this trade. I know I overall thought it was a solid. Now
I'm selling my team and he's win now, so I get younger. And
what I give the grade on Zach? I probably said like
you said my side was an A and Jared's was a C minus.
That's not what you said at all.
No, I said someone got a slight edge, but it was by
because I got his second round pick and then a young receiver, and he just got Jacobs.
Oh, was it Reed?
It was Reed in the 207 for Jacobs.
Which that 207, I don't know what it'll be at, but we'll figure out.
Yeah, again,
who won the trade after.
We know
it's fine. I kind of owe Zach some picks back and some players back after fleecing him on 2 trades last year. So kind of feel bad.
Yeah, I'm hoping this offseason's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well,
it goes a little bit better for me.
Gave me Shakir for a bag of chips, and then he gave me like Herbert and 3 firsts for a half-eaten apple. So I'll take what I can, I guess.
With bag of chips and an apple, I got a full meal out of it.
That's a kid's meal.
Yeah.
I mean,
it wasn't apple slices. We were talking like
you got like a Happy Meal instead.
Yeah.
But I do think that trade though. Well, I think Jared, with you especially getting the rookie draft pick. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Your rookie draft selections probably over the last 3 years. Now we got a decent sample size. I mean, we should probably spreadsheet this. We should spreadsheet this and put, hey, who the player you drafted is, where they drafted them, and what they're doing now.
Like, it's been unlucky. That's all you can say.
Eventually, you got to get lucky, right? Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Isn't that the saying?
Yeah. Traylon Burks coming into the league looked decent.
We talked about
he was bad. He was awful. He was awful.
No, the whole separation was Jalen Hyatt. The whole separation issue was Jalen Hyatt.
He drafted him high too.
Yeah,
and Sky Moore. You drafted all the guys.
Yeah. But like with Jalen Hyatt was a separation issue because he's quick, but he couldn't get separation. And I liked him on Tennessee. That's why I just kind of was like, yeah, he'll be good in the NFL. But you could say the same thing about Xavier Worthy, like coming into the league. He's quick, he's small, and he can just get separation with his speed. I thought Hyatt could do that. So
he can actually run routes, though.
Well, so can Hyatt. He's quick. You just get over.
He runs a fly. That's it. That's all he's got.
Daniel Jones on a really bad year, and then he had
Malik Neighbors did all right.
Yeah, I guess. But Neighbors is also a first-round pick in the actual draft. Like, he's a great player, but.
And also, I think Reed, Jared, how the NFL draft shakes out. Obviously, we know Watson being out this whole year. My whole point is Zach got the certainty side, and
but I've been taking the certainty side the last however many years, and it hasn't been too certain.
Yeah, I like this for you. I like this approach from you. This is the first time we've seen you
stuck in Steelers land the last like 3 years. I start off 8-0 and like 9-6, and then I like lose first round. Like, that's just my team. Been that way every single year. Last year I barely missed. I was I think 9-6, 8-5, whatever it was. Barely missed.
I think this is your only other pick this year was like a 4th round pick, wasn't it, or something like that?
I didn't have any picks this year,
So, but
you got your first next year. That helps if you're selling vets.
I'll get more too. I'll probably trade away if I can, depending on how good of a year they have. I can still try to trade away like Stephon Diggs
Now's a good time to sell in Diggs.
I'll be starting him unless I start Ridley.
I just think will give you more flexibility too. Is like obviously, I mean, it's uncertain of how he'll perform, but you expect at least some 3 wide receiver upside.
Yeah.
Like boom bust weeks.
I hope so. I mean, my best bet would be like wait like 2 weeks or 3 weeks into the season and like hope he produces like looking like Chris Godwin did last year, and then try to get as much as I can, or now, I guess. Either way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think I kind of told you. I just see no value. Like there are some years for value trading, I guess, like based on your team construction, but like I don't know, based on like my team right now, besides Zach, I think like Dustin's league. I know you're familiar with like how that league's set up, but 8 teams make the playoffs, so it just I'm finding like it'd be a tough time to trade. It always is this time, but just even in terms of value, the guys, the sell high guys, everybody knows who the sell high guys are, and it's like, okay, well, guess what? I want to try to trade Sam Darnold right now because who wouldn't? I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, Stephon Diggs is the other one. It's like, okay, well, I can try to trade one of these guys, but everybody knows, like, shocker, the guys who are volatile are being shopped right now, and I feel like
I mean, there's also like everyone's scared to make a trade for somebody unless like their position is pretty locked down because the draft is coming up, right? Like nobody wants to make a trade for Cortland Sutton and then all of a sudden they draft McMillan in the first round and Sutton's value plummets, right? Like nobody wants to get stuck in that situation either. So that's also what makes it difficult right now. But if you do make a trade and you get a guy like Sutton with some of that risk factor baked in, like you can get a steal. But
that's another argument I want to make with my whole draft pick thing. So you think of like, just saying, you think of the Titans. They just traded away AJ Brown. They had nobody. Treylon Burks coming in should have been their number one option. And then they go out and they go sign Julio Jones. They go sign DeAndre Hopkins. They made these trades and these signings where Burks became the third best option. And now, like, we finally get our quarterback, and he doesn't pan out to be what we thought he would. He
still wasn't good.
Well, I'm not saying he was good, but he had no chance, basically. Like,
you have to wait opportunity.
Was taken,
Yeah.
And then you look at like the Giants. I'm not saying Hyatt would have been anything, but now Malik Neighbors is just their guy there, and like Wendell Robinson was taking over like snaps. I'm not saying they're like amazing players, but I'm just saying like it hasn't been the best situation for these players. Same as the Chiefs with Sky Moore. Just
you should always draft talent and use opportunities like a tiebreaker.
Yep.
Like this year, if you think TreVeyon Henderson and Amari Hampton are essentially the same player,
there wasn't any proven talent left on the board when I took these players besides Treylon Burks. He was the only player that I took ahead of. I think I took him ahead of like Reed, and it wasn't Reed.
No, Treylon Burks was getting drafted with Drake London and Garrett Wilson. It was those two.
Yeah.
He was up.
But that's my point. That's my point, though. He was projected in like around that area. Look at those two receivers and look at him. Like, I got the short end. I just got unlucky.
I mean, look, okay. I drafted Quentin Johnson like 2 years ago, like 9th overall.
I think I have him from your team. I think you traded him to me.
I drafted him in a different league. But it'll happen sometimes. Like, because in that situation, I was looking at the board. I was like, I don't like any of these guys.
Yeah.
Nobody really wanted to trade because that year, like the back end of the first round was kind of a rough area to be in. So I was like, screw it. I'll just take a shot. I don't like Quentin Johnson. I don't think he's going to turn out to be a first round receiver, but you got to take a shot. If there's 3 guys and you draft a guy that has traits that historically have not panned out well in the NFL, that's kind of your fault.
But like you're saying how like traits haven't panned out. You saw the whole hype around CJ Stroud. I know it's quarterback to receiver, but you saw low IQ, can't make the decisions on the field, and then he goes to the playoffs back-to-back years, wins a playoff game. I'm not saying he's a great
there's going to be some situations like that.
Yeah, there's anomalies that happen. I mean, that's why I don't think that there's not creating separation. Like Xavier Worthy can't create separation, but he does it with his speed because he's just quick.
He's not as bad as the other guys we're talking about, though. He's
But
not
when
a
did-
Traylon Burks. He's not a
draft
Jalen Hyatt.
When did I draft Hyatt? That was like
Mid-second, I think, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say end of the second. Yeah, it was like mid-end second. Those aren't players I'm expecting to be wide receiver ones on my team. I'm expecting that maybe there's upside, but average wide receiver 3, maybe they sneak in a few weeks in my season, which isn't a thing. It's not going to happen. They're worse than that. They just haven't panned out. But I'm not like at that point in the draft. You're like, maybe you throw them a pick, be like,
Yeah, I mean,
see what happens.
Hyatt, like it is what it is. Like it's kind of whatever. But
so those 3, Sky Moore too. He. I mean, I took Sky Moore.
He was early second.
Yeah, I took him over some other.
You took him in the first.
I did. I took him right at the end of the first.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
Who else was in that class?
There was
a few
lot
guys
of
around
other
that
ones
range
that I took him over that I shouldn't have. Yeah, but like that's
I don't
my
remember
bad, I
who
guess.
that class was, but
then they sign Rice, or they draft Rice. They got Worthy. I mean, that was earlier, obviously, but Sky Moore is still on the team. He just doesn't have value like at all. That's just how it happens. I mean, last year they had Hopkins, they had Hollywood Brown, they had like all these old receivers that just came to Kansas City. Sky Moore was
that's because Sky Moore wasn't doing anything.
Well, yeah,
it's kind of because he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're definitely going to have some misses. You're definitely going to have some guys where, you just may have no interest in drafting that turn out to be good. Like last year, I had zero interest in Jane Daniels. Didn't draft him a single spot. He turned out to be amazing. I think it is what it is. But
well, he's not amazing yet. It's been 1 year.
For fantasy, he's amazing.
So was CJ Stroud last year, and then he sucked this year. So let's hold off on that whole. He's above average right now. All right, let's hold off.
He had an amazing rookie year.
Okay, that's fair.
He's a top 3 dynasty quarterback.
People just are so quick to call someone.
Is he the number 1 dynasty quarterback right now, according to like ADP?
Come on,
according to ADP, Jared.
He might be, but
he's top 3 for sure.
I think Lamar and Allen are still ahead. Because it's not like they're
startup dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
Allen's
not like
already
Lamar,
almost like 30, right? He's pushing 30.
I think So is Lamar. I think Lamar's 28.
Is he?
I'd have to look, and it's also gonna, I'm gonna ask you the obvious. It's gonna be 4 or 6, and obviously in 4, these guys are all.
I love when you ask that question. Because I've never been in a league that besides yours it's been 6.
Oh, see, then why do I?
Yours is the only one that's 6. I don't.
It's a growing thing. I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
I think it is,
and that's when mine started. It was a trend, if you will. As is league median one day.
Yeah.
Like I think in Dynasty it really evens out the quarterbacks. So like the guys that do rush a lot.
Yeah.
It evens them out with, like the Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy's of the world.
But then you have games where Justin Herbert's putting up 40 points a week when he has he's not that what I'm trying to say. He's not mobile. He can throw for 400 yards, but throw for 3-4 touchdowns and it's inflated, which.
That's the trade-off. It's like in 4-point, the rushing quarterbacks are overvalued compared to other quarterbacks. Yeah. But in the 6-point, all quarterbacks are overvalued compared to non-quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
ADP for startups right now is very limited, by the way. But just going through kind of some of the, looking through how it's all set up for QBs. Josh Allen is still going number 1.
Can we talk about how Zach wanted to steal our money, Drew?
What?
Do you want to do $100 Dynasty Startup League with me? You want to do that?
I thought it was $150.
Stealing because you're better at Dynasty than me. So I'm not going to agree to just give you money.
Well, that just sounds like a skill issue.
No, that's why I said no. I don't want to do it because I'm smart enough to realize I suck at Dynasty.
I got 8 leagues, and
Yeah. Justin Jefferson touchdown. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I was rooting
against him in 6 leagues. Yeah.
We were rooting for Harrison Bryant a little bit. It was actually 9 leagues. Misspoke. It was.
Well, it's stupid. It's like you have him in 1 league, so you're cheering for him.
Well, I'm gonna.
Drew's like everything will equate to the way it's supposed to be. Everything will work itself out. It's fine.
It will. It will.
Like
Overtime. It's a
I
long
beat Drew
season.
by like 300 points in fantasy baseball last week. Just wanted to let everyone know.
First time you've ever beaten me, I think, in fantasy
Don't
baseball.
matter. I smoked you.
It
You were
was a
terrible.
regular season.
I don't care. My batters are having like a hit parade. My home runs are coming in here and there. Notifications up. James Wood swipe. Otani swipe. Churio, Yelich. Everyone just hitting dingers. It's like can't keep up. I'm
You had a good week.
clearing my notifications here and there, and Drew's just sitting there like, single, double. Like,
no, I didn't get any notifications. It was bad.
Yeah,
I probably only got
pitchers
like
are also
4 or 5.
insane too.
Yeah, it was not a good week. Nor is this week for me. Freddie Freeman got injured. What was it? Shower injury? They said.
Seriously? Is that what happened?
Something. Blake Snell's already hurt.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna win again this week. Wow, insane. Oh, Merrill and McLean are both on the IL. Yikes.
Yeah, he was stepping into the shower and he aggravated his surgically repaired right ankle. So that is how my team's doing.
Yeah.
So we're starting Tristan Casas at first. Zach doesn't know who that is.
Yeah, I picked up Kikuchi.
Yeah, I do.
And he had like 50
He's the
points.
Red Sox first baseman.
Wow.
He's smart. No, he's not. He knew one fact.
Hey.
But
yeah.
Did another headline from NFL.com I wanted to point out, just some reports coming in. Trevor Lawrence. They're still, they're very optimistic that he'll be ready for 2025. I guess I didn't realize there was this level of uncertainty with kind of Lawrence.
Yeah, I think they're trying to figure out if he's good enough to play. He's not good, so I think they're trying to figure out if they should.
He had surgery after he got the concussion, didn't he?
Yeah, but there's still questions on his status. I guess coming 25. But the reports are optimistic.
5 months yet.
I know, but we're talking April already, and we're talking about, obviously we wish Lawrence the best, but that's definitely a concern if you're a Brian Thomas fan, if you're, let alone a Lawrence fan and of that offense.
Zach, that's one of your teams.
That's what I'm getting.
It is a team I got to cheer for due to my investment in them. Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. He's off of the Chargers now. He doesn't like Johnston. He traded Herbert. I don't think
don't have Ladd anywhere.
Yeah, no more
Chargers. Weird, Zach. I have Ladd, let alone, and I've never been the Chargers guy.
Yeah.
Usually,
we'll see. Maybe Hampton or something.
He's still a big Jets fan.
Go there and...
He's still a big Jets fan.
Yeah. Jets fan.
Yeah. 49ers.
49ers. Come on. Can't even just forget that.
I'm kind of a Najee
I think he's kind of a Bears fan now.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit for offense. I hope their defense is awful yet, but
yeah,
a little Packer fan. I'd say 6 teams now, probably down from his 8 or 9.
Yeah,
a couple years ago, but
right.
Well, we do have tight end rankings, right, Jared? We have top 15.
This week is a little boring because there's not many that we had crazy. Besides, Drew had one really kind of crazy pick, but. Besides that, it was fine.
Was it a rookie I had up?
No. Actually, there's 2 rookies on this list, and we know who they are, so we both had them.
Oh, I didn't put one of the rookies on the list.
Well, he snuck on, so.
And he's I thought about it. I really did.
Yeah.
So I got top 15. Both Zach's and Jared ready?
Honorable mentions, I'll say. Drew had Hunter Henry on his list. He didn't make it.
I had him at 15, Zach.
Yeah,
relax.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw the name. I didn't have him on my list, but Kyle Pitts. I just wanted to throw him on there because of how the downfall has looked. He's not on here.
Yeah, I didn't.
Did anybody put him on? Did I?
No one did.
That's my swing and miss. We were talking swing and misses.
Yeah, and then Dallas Goedert was a honorable mention as well. He just missed the list. He would have been, yeah, he was.
That'll depend where he's playing.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be in Philly next year.
I still do.
Yeah. So 15 is Colston Loveland, which I don't know if we can even say that because we have no idea where he's going to go. I think we're a little biased on
we're bet on talent.
Yeah, but he might be a second rounder. Like he might not even go first round, depending on.
That's fine for a tight end.
Yeah, but
look at like what I'm just a little worried because like Ben Sinnott, for example, but obviously there's a Brock Bowers and but if Loveland falls, it could be for opportunity bad.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that I think running back and tight end, both positions, there's a lot of teams that have definite needs.
Yeah.
Right? Like you look at the Rams are a spot that I've seen tied to Loveland in probably 50% of mock drafts I see. Because they're in that kind of later 20s, mid to late 20s.
Well,
they
if
have Higbee, who's fine, but like he's not a difference maker tight end.
he wasn't on any of our lists either, so he didn't make it on this list. It depends though, because if Warren goes before 15, the Colts will probably take Loveland. I'm guessing they would. Like that's
They
almost
go a different direction, no?
or they would trade back. Either way,
I'd move Loveland up if he went to if I knew he was going to the Colts. I'd have him
Move
I'd
him
probably have
down.
him at 15.
as in like 16, 17 or 14, 13, Drew.
Oh yeah, I'm saying like I didn't have him in my top 15. I would put him in my top
okay.
15.
Okay.
Probably at 15 here.
Yeah.
I would move him out of mine if you went to the Colts.
I mean, there's opportunity on the Colts though, Zach. Like
If Richardson is starting, he's out of top 15.
Playing to their potential, he could be a top 15 tight end on the Colts. We haven't used a tight end.
They got Danny Dimes.
Yeah. Eric Ebron was our tight end. Then we got Jack Doyle we had for a while. And then after him, it was just Moelle Cox and Kylan Granson.
Yes.
Barton. What was Burton? Eric Burton? Trey Burton? Was that his name?
Yeah, Trey Burton.
Yeah. It was a mess. So now we have, we could have a solid whatever. 14. Zach, this might not be correct anymore based on your text, but Kincaid is at 14. So Zach forgot one of his.
I forgot someone.
And he said that the player he forgot would go in place of Kincaid on his list. So I'm
guessing that guy's on the list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Kincaid at 11.
I'm out on him.
Yeah,
just
me
because
too.
of that offense. That offense will still be good, and he'll still get targets.
He's not like he doesn't demand targets though. He gets 3 to 4 a game.
Yeah.
It's just not sustainable for a fantasy tight end.
Yeah. I mean, tight ends normally get like 5-6 targets a game in general, besides like top end tight ends.
It's gonna take him having a double-digit touchdown. It's gonna like James Cook. We assume he's gonna go down in touchdowns. He better be assuming some of those if that's kind of the And then I think we're talking back end tight end one. I could totally see.
It really showed in these lists from you guys that you didn't value offense much. You just valued talent instead. Because there's some rankings you guys have that you just didn't really care about what offense they're on. You basically said, "Oh, they're a great player. They have good talent. They could be here." And which is fair, but I feel like some of these don't make sense based on the situation they're in.
Jared, too, and the reality is like a lot of these guys are going to be third options on their teams. I mean, that's really how this is how it just ends up shaking out. So
like this makes sense for 13. It's Jake Ferguson. Like, they don't have many weapons. He'll get targets. Fine.
He's productive with the targets, I'd say.
Yeah. And 12 is Tucker Kraft. So Zach forgot Kraft on his list.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he might be a little would he be higher probably if you
I wouldn't have had him top. I think he's gonna be like a back end tight end one, probably.
Yeah. I had him at 10.
Where did I have him? Should have told him that, Jared.
You should get your list up, Drew, so we can see. Otherwise, I have to pull it up myself. And let me look real quick.
Thank you.
Drew had him at 10 as well.
Yeah.
Zach didn't even have him. That's crazy. What a Packer fan.
Yeah, wait, Zach. Why wouldn't you have him?
He forgot him.
Oh, but sorry, but
yeah.
Where would you have him?
Yeah.
I had Kincaid at 13. I think probably right there, maybe ahead of Ferguson and Njoku up to 11, maybe. but I couldn't move him higher than that.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. Yep, that's the range he should be in.
Yeah.
It's like I think he's in like that whole range is just it's guys that like they might get 5-6 targets one week and have 15 points, but then next week might have 2 targets and 4 points or
But
something like that.
you also don't feel comfortable having this guy's your tight end 1 on your own team, right?
It's like I think Kraft, he's a good tight. Like I have him as a tight end 2 in a lot of leagues, and I feel good about that.
Yeah,
but
yep.
He's like a good candidate if you don't have one of like the top 5-6, one of the top end guys. He's a good option to have just for the weekly upside.
Yeah, streaming more. Yeah, and obviously you'd like to start him 70% of games, but bad matchup or teams running the ball a lot, game script change, winter, whatever. Not a bad.
He didn't even come in last year as the number 1 on his own team. So just saying.
That's also like I don't know. Musgrave has to be more involved. Like obviously he missed so much time last year. They got involved a little bit this year. Yeah, but we don't know what that looks like yet. So
yeah. Number 11, we got Mark Andrews. 13 for Drew, 9 for Zach, and
I'm out.
13 for me.
He's a tight end 2 for me. Is kind of where like I put him 13, like really hitting that message home. I don't think he's a top 12 guy.
Didn't Hopkins go to Baltimore?
Yep.
Hopkins isn't doing anything. Like at this point in his career, he doesn't.
Weapon for KC last year in the playoffs.
He didn't do much of anything.
That's not
done much of anything since.
Likely took some of his targets. There were games Andrews didn't even get targeted, or he had 1 target, no catches. You can't have that production from your tight end 1. So
he had, I think, like 3 or 4 games where he had 0 or 1 catches, and outside of those 3 or 4 games, he averaged like 10 to 12 points or something like that.
That's right.
I think he was overall like 7 or something on the season. Like he ended up having a decent season.
If you took out those first 4 games, especially too, like you really get that message home. I just think there's a lot of, obviously with a lot of these guys touchdowns, we have to say it. That's where their points we're going to see a lot of. I think Andrews.
That's been his career though. Like that
has been, but I think the options have gotten only stronger in the red zone as his career's gone on around him, not him necessarily. So look at the game last year, and I know like 1 play, whatever, but like, and I'm not saying that's going to be the downfall of his fantasy career or his career in general, but obviously biggest moment too, and that a drop like that in the end zone, they go out and get DeAndre Hopkins, who's made a career also in the end zone. I feel like kind of that message. They have a lot of great options.
I think he'll have one of his best years this year. I do think that, but I don't think that he'll be, better than the guys above him. I don't know. There's a lot of good tight ends.
One of my
really top heavy.
This is one of the guys that I think like just looking at their contracts gives me some confidence that like Baltimore still believes in him. Because he has a fairly high cap hit that they could have got out of and saved a decent amount of money this offseason and chose not to. Mm-hmm. So that's where I look at that saying like they still believe in him. They still want him to be a big part of their offense. And whether that's the front office or whether that's Lamar, it's somebody. So
yeah, and I'm not saying one drop defines him either, like in terms of his next season as well. And I know there's talk of course, him getting cut in.
There were talks after week 1 last year that Likely was going to be the number 1. Like after that big game he had, and then that when he stepped out in the end zone.
People overreacting.
Yeah, people did overreact, but who's to say that Likely isn't, year 2, year 3 now? He's getting better. He's going to get more target share. And you've seen that with a bunch of old players where you just
year 4?
You go away from the vets.
I think he's year 4.
But he didn't play much his first year, like at all.
But yeah, you're right. He's actually really increased year over year production. Yeah. So
last year we saw him kind of break out a little. So who's to say that Andrews doesn't kind of fade into a blocking tight end or kind of I don't know. There's a lot of options they can do with him, especially with a young team around him. Like he's besides Hopkins, I guess, but he's like the old receiver now. He's the old weapon. A bunch of young players that they'd probably go to before him. So
yeah,
I don't know.
10.
This is where Drew's going to be baffled because apparently he's so high on David Njoku for some reason.
I told you, Jared.
Yeah,
I told you he was going to have him top 5.
He had him at 6.
Consistent.
On
I mean, look what he does with his production
on the Browns offense. Yeah, gonna be great.
I mean, I just am saying a lot of the top things you look for in a tight end, he's consistently proven with. I won't get on defense right away. Sorry, where did you guys have him?
14.
11.
Wow.
Yeah,
14 might be a little low.
To be honest, I'll be 100% honest. When I was making my list, I was like, oh, probably should have had him around 10 or 12, 13, or maybe 12, 11. I was like, he's a little low, but whatever. I didn't really care to switch it because their offense is going to be terrible this year. They're going to win like 4 games.
This is why I hate Njoku. I feel like every year he has the same year where at some point in the season he has like a 4-game stretch where he averages like 20 points a game.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, Njoku's awesome. And then he just rides that into the offseason and just repeats it every single year. But he has so many weeks where it's awful.
It's like, he's having a good week. You should start him next week. You start him and he lays an egg. You're like, oh, that's Njoku.
That's why I have him low-end tight end 1 by the rest of those guys. Yeah. By, Ferguson, by where I have Kraft in that range.
Kincaid I had next to him.
He's probably at like the upper tier of that range, but
I put him right next to Mark Andrews. I think that's like perfect where he is. I don't know. Drew, your turn. Explain why he's number 6.
Well, I've alluded to it a little bit. We know the consistency with him. He's actually I know, Jared, you're a big age guy. It might surprise you. He's only 28. So it seems like he's been around forever, but I think what really stands out is where we saw him with different quarterbacks, the production we've seen in season in, season out, different guys still consistent, as well as it's not like this guy's a primary blocker and they want to use him. They get him involved in terms of target share he's dominated in, and then also we've seen, of course, the touchdown production as well. I think we'll continue to see that this upcoming year, and just looking around like on rankings and stuff, like ADP wise, he's being drafted as like 10, 7 or 8, so it's not like that far off. Yeah. But definitely I'm bullish in terms of.
I don't know what that offense is going to look like though. That was the big thing for me is I don't see them having the ball much on offense.
And I want to play both sides because I was like, okay, well, I'm bumping up some of these rookies who I think are great players, right? We have another one coming. I want to play the same side for these teams without quarterbacks. I wanted to try to forecast that in a little bit. I think, well, I don't want to say who I think they got. I was really playing when I was doing these rankings. Just Kirk Cousins keeps coming to my mind. I'm just hoping Kirk Cousins is with him. Because what if they had a quarterback like Kirk Cousins with that? Would you have him? Where would you guys have him? Like,
if I knew a solid
6
quarterback. Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
Okay.
Probably around 8.
I'm being bullish. I know I'm the high end, and I know why because hey, I'm looking at him in terms of.
Drew, did you know that? You can finish what you're saying. Sorry.
No, you go.
Yeah,
I want to know what I don't know.
I didn't. So.
Did you know he's only had 1 season over 650 yards in his career?
Wow. Touchdown numbers, please.
5, 6, 4, 4, 2, 1, 4, 4.
Wow, that changes everything. Oh my!
Well, I'm just saying in terms of what we're seeing from tight ends, we're seeing
very mid.
I think he had his highs are really high, but his lows are 0. So I don't know.
And his highs carry the perception
I know
of
what you're
him.
saying, Drew. He is like he can be that consistent tight end on a team for a few weeks, like Zach said, 4 weeks. But I think it's overshadowed by his really bad weeks that people just think he's this amazing talent. Yeah, you could argue he had Jameis last year and Deshaun Watson was terrible and he still put up
Flacco the year prior.
Yeah, you could make I see what you're saying there. I would probably with a solid QB I'd put him 7 or 8. So I'm bullish 6 is a little high, but Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't bet on the Browns investing in a QB because, like, if we're coming into the year and quarterback uncertainty, draft really didn't fix it, they go in with a guy like Dart, or I mean, like, just something like weird happens like that. Yeah, I got to move him down. I would actually venture to probably where we have him right now at 10. I think that'd be a fine spot. But
I mean, do they even have the money to be able to bring in Kirk?
They owe Watson like millions yet.
They're paying Watson a huge contract. Ward's on a big contract. Garrett's on a big contract.
The vision is they would have Atlanta eat some of the money in that deal, Zach, so they would actually be giving up draft capital, which is funny because they finally are drafting again after they got through the line. No, they got draft capital back, but they just went all those years without it because of Watson. Now it would be, we'd have to actually give up additional draft capital for the other team to pay the salary. So
going further into debt and taking a bigger risk to hope that Kirk is good for 2 years.
We talked about this with that ownership, GM,
Yeah,
they got to do something to save their jobs. And I'm not saying kicking it down the curb's the right thing, but look, they did in New Orleans. They've done in other places.
And isn't New Orleans just the team to be a fan of right now? Aren't they just?
I'm not advocating for team success with it, but I'm saying what I envision would happen in my dream scenario. Obviously, we gotta wait and see. But
I mean, right now, Kirk Cousins' cap hit for this year is $40 million, and they have 19.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. That's still the stupidest thing that the Falcons have done with signing Kirk and then benching him, and that's a mess.
It made sense at the time. If you would have,
did it really?
If you would have played how he did in Minnesota, it would have been a good deal.
Yeah,
but
benching him though, and he wasn't playing like god awful. He wasn't good, but he wasn't.
He was pretty bad.
He had that drive where he, led them down the field, and they won the game with like 40 seconds left, like week 3 or 4, and then after that, just fell off completely. After he was throwing it to Mooney, then he had one to Pitts. He had a touchdown to Mooney, and or whoever it was, and it was a great drive, and then you didn't really hear his name after that.
I have one more Njoku point. He also was on IR last year, Zach, too, in points per game. He was fifth last year.
How many games did he miss? Was that with his fire that he had?
He had the ankle. So ends up actually really calcing out. I mean, if you take out stats have been low because he's been on IR at least like once every, he's been having IR stints for reasons. So, I mean, 10.6 points per game.
You could also argue a lot of tight ends miss games too, just because they're linemen. I liked calling myself a lineman when I played tight end, but a lot of them are, You take more contact than you take a lot of contact more than like a receiver would. Yeah. So, but you're right, yeah.
But that's how I look at it too, though. Is that right? I mean, I look at points. If I look at that, sure, he played 11 games, but who am I starting the other weeks?
Yeah.
He also played how many games with Winston? I mean, whoever they have at quarterback, I don't care who it is.
They had DTR and Skylar Thompson some games, didn't they? Was it Skylar Thompson?
I don't think last year. I think it was Watson straight to
DTR and who else? Who was
he started a game last year?
Yeah.
Did he? Okay. For the most part, is Watson straight to Winston though,
and I would say Flacco the year prior. I mean,
Flacco was actually really good for them though that year. Like they won 11 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like those guys are good for fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Like obviously Winston, we've seen everywhere he's went, guys have put up crazy fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
But so whoever they get, whether it's Kirk Cousins, whether it's Deshaun Watson or Shadur Sanders, whoever it is, isn't going to be James Winston.
Yeah. That's fair.
But who's number 9?
So, fun fact, my 1 through 9 is the exact same as the average 1 through 9. And Zach's was pretty close. All of ours were pretty close, but this is like the first time it's ever happened where, fun fact for me, I'm the best at making these lists.
This is Kelsey?
No, it's Jonnu Smith.
Wow.
Who was so low on him? I thought I was.
Well, I have all the numbers you see is where I have them.
So
Zach
Drew's
had him
low.
at 8, and Drew had him at 8. No, he was right there.
Yeah, ball nowhere.
Yeah. You could make the same argument with him with Njoku, though. Like, he didn't do anything last year until, like, week 7 or 8, and then he just had a great end of the year. Like, he was really
crazy for the whole end of the year.
The
He was, like,
reason he was so
consistent
good, though, is
15 to
because,
20.
I mean, Tyreek Hill had a terrible year. I mean, terrible in his standards, still put up like
He's only getting older, though.
But so is
It
Jonnu
is-
Smith. Jonnu Smith isn't this young guy. Like, he's like
No, he's not.
he's like 30. He's older. I don't know.
But it's also like Tyreek Hill goes on speed, and that tends to go quicker than,
Yeah.
you know, route running.
There was even that one game
whatever
where
else.
he had no catches the entire game, and then he caught like 6 passes in overtime and the touchdown.
Yeah,
to
I know.
win
I
it.
was going against him that week. That was a brutal week.
I think Jono at 8. I mean, that's where again. We all had him in this. This is all fair.
Yeah.
I think. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, that's why you're saying that, Zach, because you had Kelsey at 10. Okay. Well, next is the rookie, Tyler Warren.
Warren, awesome.
He's
Zach had
gonna
him
end
at
up-
7, and Drew had him at 9. I had him at 8.
I was the low. I mean, I thought I was gonna be the high guy. I really did.
Yeah.
What if he ends up in Chicago? Where do you have him?
Oh, you in the. I mean, I'm not gonna get him. You're gonna get him. So it won't even matter.
No, I'm just asking. Like, that's probably one of those
Drop 'em.
situations where there's a lot of guys on that offense now.
Yeah.
But
I'll take him
he's
over
a
to
good
Joker.
player.
So are you telling me Cole Kmet's value is gone? Is that what you're saying?
If he goes there, yeah.
Yikes.
Komet's one of those guys who's great, blocking tight end, and you want to
Didn't make the list.
But,
Again, but could be like number 18, 17, maybe.
well, barring
I think,
if Warren goes, I never thought of really Warren being an option there.
Yeah.
I always thought more Loveland and going that route, but I also think Loveland with Michigan going to San Diego. I said San Diego, really. The Chargers. Makes sense.
Wow. This guy's living in
Baseball mode.
2016. Wow. Yeah.
I don't know. I think
San
it
Diego.
seemed like Warren has the feel that he's kind of climbing up draft boards, and he's going to go pretty early.
Oh yeah.
From how it's been feeling lately.
When
At the
when we're
latest,
standing there.
the latest, he'll go 15. If he's there with the Colts, they will take him at 15.
Yeah, I don't think he's making it to 15 though.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope we get him. That'll be cool. Like, he was great on Penn
Like,
State. He was. I
He was
would love to have
phenomenal.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to see him go to Carolina at
No.
7
No.
or 8.
8 is
That'd be
crazy
huge.
though.
That'd be
That's-
huge. And
that's-
they made
when did Bowers go
investments
last
in
year?
O-line defense.
13.
Is
Look at
Warren
your
really
Bowers
that
had.
high of a? Yeah.
No, but everyone people devalue the tight end position so much. It's kind of like safety. And then we saw Kyle Hamilton come out. People realized that a good
This guy's
safety
good.
can be a difference maker. Bowers came out. They're like, well, I mean, maybe if you get a really good tight end, he can change your offense. And Warren,
I just feel like
I've
the
seen-
same thing's going to happen this year that happened with Bowers last year, where the Colts had the 14th pick, he goes 13, and we missed out on him on one pick. This year it's going to be 12, 11, whatever, and he's going to. If the Colts don't trade up for him, I'm going to be really mad because we need a tight end, and he was perfect.
he's-
Which you
there's
might
a
not
lot
like
of
it for
tight ends this
fantasy,
year.
but that'll be awesome if we got Warren.
It's a good tight end class, so it's not a bad year to need one of those.
If we don't get Warren, we'll get Loveland, but we're probably going to trade back for him. But I don't know. Hopefully we end up with one of them.
I would laugh if they take him at 15.
Yeah. Loveland. We might, honestly. He's been mocked there sometimes. In some
Could
mock
happen.
drafts. Yeah. Would I take Warren just based off speculation over Jonnu Smith and Njoku? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
It's hard. It's hard
Yeah, I
to
think
put
you
him
would.
high when we don't know where he's going to be yet. That's the biggest thing.
Pre-draft, we have a good spot for him. Okay.
Yeah. 7 is Evan Ingram.
Ooh, that's the one I'm the low on.
Ooh,
Very low.
yeah, dragged him down. Jesus.
Wow. So I had him at 7. Zach had him at 4. And Drew had him at 12.
14? 12.
12.
Yeah,
12?
He's just-
I'm
he
out,
just-
Zach.
He just signed a 2-year
Why?
deal. He's
How?
best shape.
look
of
what
his
he does
career.
with his targets. Or, sorry, what he doesn't do with his targets.
Catches
I
them.
mean,
What?
it's been a whole lot of
earns
empty
targets.
stats.
Yeah. Hey,
I don't care.
empty
Like,
stats
if you
will
can get a
you
guy
points
that
in
earns
fantasy.
targets at the tight end position, it's a cheat code for PPR. That's all you can ask for is a guy that consistently gets targets. That is what Evan Ingram is. Everywhere he's went in his career, he's gotten consistent targets. He was Trevor Lawrence's number one option, even with Brian Thomas Jr., even with Christian Kirk, all those guys.
And he's a red zone guy too.
Yeah, I still as a tight end 1, mind you.
12?
I'll have to throw some stats.
This is more between you guys. I had him at 7 where he is. So
Think about how many targets are going around in that offense.
Yeah, but we talked about
It's
the draft
Courtland
with
Sutton.
receivers. We know they're getting another guy. I don't know. I think the tight end position in Denver the last few years we've seen has really not equated to much
Sean
of anything.
Payton's been there 1 year.
You know?
It's been there 1 year.
Yeah, but I'm just talking continuity with that team in general, though. Like, I mean, we have not seen that a tight end perform.
It's a different
Obviously,
team.
Okay, well, looking at it, I still was tight end 1. If you talk about stats last year, obviously he was hurt and stuff, but 365 yards, we had 1 touchdown.
Look at his targets. Look at the
1
targets.
touchdown. I'm looking
care.
at,
in Zach's
Doesn't
defense,
matter if you're getting 6-7 catches a game as a tight end.
In Zach's defense, though, like on the Giants, he was taking targets from OBJ. Like he was demanding targets.
Yeah,
and now on Jacksonville,
30.
he was taking targets away from Brian Thomas. Like he will get the
Sean
targets
Payton-
no matter what. Yeah.
What'd Sean Payton call him? His unicorn, his Swiss Army knife, something like that?
Oh,
Yeah.
Coach Speak has came out again.
Well,
No,
he is
he's
reliable.
30
He is
and coming in.
very
I'm not
reliable.
going to drive.
I
that
said
home,
that
but
same thing last year, Drew.
he's at the
getting
back
older,
end.
He's not going to be good.
He's at the
And then
back
he
end of his
still gets
career.
10 targets a game, 8 targets.
He's
a game.
30. We're ranking for this year.
Yeah.
He's fine.
And we
He's
did
fine,
just
not an
rank
issue.
Jonnu Smith right below him too, and he's
Zach, he's going to finish as a tight end 1, I think, this year, but I think he'll be more so with 12. I think that's a more proper. I can't believe 4. I mean, you're just looking at targets and stuff and not separation. That's fine. Just, okay, we'll take him at – I don't see him at 4. I think that's
He's
too
easily the number
aggressive.
2 option, potentially
Okay,
number 1 option
redraft,
on the
number 2.
offense.
Could easily go back
Redraft
to
number.
3.
Oh,
just
either way,
saying.
he's not that far off of where Sutton is on the pecking order of targets. In a offense
Right
that
now.
What?
I'm just saying right now.
I'm saying even if they do draft number 1, he's still like arguably number 2 with Sutton. It's not like they got CD Lamb or something there that he's competing with. Sutton's a good receiver, but he's not a top 10 guy. Like there's gonna be multiple games he out targets Sutton. Guaranteed. And it's gonna be a good offense, right? Bo Nix, you're assuming is gonna take a step forward. They're probably gonna have a better run game than they did last year, which is gonna provide more scoring opportunities.
Yeah, I guess I'm out at where he's at right now. And I think, again, having tight end 1 is still putting him in tight end 1. I think it's reasonable where he should be. But again, coming in 9 games last year, and I know we're betting all 17 games, and he played all 17 2 years prior. I get he's a big reception guy, but if you just look at what he does with the catch and whatnot, I know obviously PPR, that's you want points per reception. Don't get it confused, but touchdowns have been empty the last 5 years. 1, 4, 4, 3, 1, and we're talking with full seasons those last 4. So
that's where Njoku was, and you weren't saying anything about that for him. You had him at number 5.
Yeah, if you look at yards per catch, what he's getting, I mean, 7.8 last year was for Ingram. That's not great.
Yeah, you're saying he can't get down the field?
Yeah, I'm looking at his career right now. He's averaged under 10, 9.9. That's always been part of his.
You only like deep threat tight ends then?
Well, not necessarily. I think my rankings have actually been quite consistent with how I've been going, but
all right, let's move on to number 6.
So who do you have? Who do you have at 5 and 6?
We'll get there.
I don't know. I think both you guys have good arguments, though. I think.
Yeah, mine's just better because it actually makes sense.
Well, I don't know. I think Drew's making a good point with like, he hasn't done much with his targets, which, doesn't matter if you're getting targets. You got to still, be able to put up the numbers.
I'll take your own
Get the
targets. You do
targets.
stuff with them.
Yeah.
I don't know. New system. That's where.
And Zach's point is that he gets
I'm
the
baking that
targets. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's a coaching staff that brought him in. So you can say new system all you want, but obviously they want him there. Like, this isn't a new team that just inherited a roster that he was on. Like,
We've had
specifically
veterans.
chose to bring him in.
We've had veterans in the same situation get brought into a new system. Oh, they were brought in. They're gonna have a big year, and we see the dud. Year 8, coming in year 9. We've seen this story before, and I just don't want to ignore that. I think Hopkins is obviously the one we've talked about so far. Oh, we've seen him brought in by Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
I don't know.
Yeah. I see both sides. Number 6, we got Travis Kelce. I had him at 6. I think Zach had him at 10.
Wow.
Drew had him at 4. So opposite. Flip them. You guys are.
Yeah, I'll take Kelce all day.
That way.
Jesus. Talking about age.
No, we're talking about championships, Zach. You haven't gotten much of those, so.
Same argument, but flip it or what? Targets.
Kelsey's
he gets
the third
targets,
option.
but he gets the targets. He gets
He
did
gets good
last
targets.
year.
He gets red zone targets.
this.
Did
Last year was
last
a
year.
down year. Last year was a down year. It was.
He's
And he
only
still had
getting
1,000
older.
yards.
He still finished. What was a point per game? He still
He
finished.
still had 1,000 yards on the year, and
He's
he
like
missed 2
6 or
games
7
too.
or something like that. I don't think he did get 1,000 either, but that's
He was
beside
pretty
the point.
close. He was like 950 or something. He was like right there. I remember being close.
Yeah. Kelsey's obvious over him. I don't know if that's close.
He had 823 yards on 97 receptions.
Where's Evan Ingram?
So talk
going
about
right now
doing
in
stuff
drafts?
with your receptions.
Draft.
This is every single point that you just made about Evan Ingram
ADP.
in Travis Kelce, but you got him at 4.
ADP for. I'm just curious where Ingram's going.
3 touchdowns, 97 catches, 823 yards.
Drew, I see why
That's
you laugh
number
when Zach
4.
and I are talking. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know. I think you can't ignore the fact that Kelce is like the most
Wow.
consistent player like in the
He
league.
hasn't been. He was
Highest
awful last
spot.
year.
Listen to the average ranking for ECR. So right, this per Fantasy Pros, other experts rank. The high person on him has them tight end 10, whereas
Ooh.
the average is tight end 12 for redraft
For who?
for Evan Ingram.
The high
Where's
person
Kelce?
has him at 10. Kelsey's probably like
Kelsey?
8.
I'll have to look. Probably around where we have him, but so it sounds like Zach, you should be buying Evan Ingram. I better see every team.
I see both of those receivers like pretty similarly. Like they both get a lot of targets, and Kelce had a down year. Ingram had average year. Zach, did your phone just turn off or what?
He's between 8 and 11. So sure,
Yeah,
they must have turned off, but
yeah, I can't hear him.
higher on
anymore.
it. But
Oh, Zach. Yeah, I don't know. I think Kelce is. If I'm looking at those two, between Kelce and
you're taking
Ingram,
Kelce. I mean,
I think I would.
we're wasting time here by talking about that debate.
Yeah, I think I would take Kelce.
What debate?
Who's better, Kelce?
Sorry,
Well,
I think
my
Kelce's better.
What about 5?
Yeah, we got.
I'm just saying,
at 5.
I look at Upper Hand Fantasy. He just put out a video about he's been very high on Ingram. and I think he's still like decently high in Kelsey, but look up. I think he just posted a video a couple days ago, maybe last weekend or something, on Evan Ingram. Go look it up and watch it.
So you're telling me upper hand fantasies ranking influence your ranking, so I have to
You
watch
make good
upper hand.
points, yeah.
I can send a void list on Evan Ingram.
I think both are very similar. I think they're very similar players. They're both aging. They both get targets. I think they're right where they should be. Honestly, that's my opinion.
This is fine. Yeah, how it shakes out right now, I can live with this.
Yeah, we got Hawkinson at 5.
Okay,
another aging, I guess, tight end, but he'll still be, in the middle of everything. Most of these you can guess. We had basically the exact same top 3. Laporta's 4.
Gotta say top 3 because I had Ingram at 4.
You had who at 4?
Ingram.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, wait, can I ask about Hawkinson quick? Because I think I have him here too, but I wonder if I'm victim. Rookie quarterback. Oh, well, let's do McCarthy, right?
Actually, you had him at 7. We both had him at 5. So
I did. I thought I was lower on him.
Yeah.
But I guess also right. I mean, he's the third option in that offense too with a rookie quarterback. Like, there's got to be some concerns. That one I'm more confident in saying, JJ McCarthy's starting. But obviously, what he's done as a receiver.
I still think he's gonna be a second option after Jefferson, obviously. But
okay,
because I think last year, I don't know if it wasn't that he was 100% healthy or they just didn't want to throw him 100% in. But I mean, realistically, he played like 2, maybe 3 games, like fully last year. I don't think they were utilizing him as much as like even they did in 2023. So I think I'm expecting more of the 2023 usage, especially with McCarthy. I don't think. Well, I don't know. I think McCarthy's probably is going to play a little bit more conservative than Darnold did at some points. So,
and rookie quarterbacks and tight ends is a real thing. I like him at this. Again, I'd take him over. The one thing I might change on my list, looking back, I'm always open to changing, is definitely would take him over Kelsey, and maybe Njoku. Maybe flip those two.
So you'd still put Warren and Jonnu Smith and all of them over him,
or well, how this list shook out,
Say Warren ends up in Carolina. Does he move up into this Hawkinson?
No,
he passes Ingram. I'll tell you that.
Jeez, guys. I don't know. I think this list is perfect in my opinion. I don't know. I don't.
Because it's your list.
It literally is. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't look at any of your lists. I just wrote them down the way I thought, and it averaged to be this.
Is this pretty comparative to like ADP or like your draft rankings right now?
I'll pull up tight end ADP. It's hard because actually right now it's just really hard finding ADP in general.
I can pull up. I'll pull up on Keep Trade Cut for the redraft rankings.
That'll work. Oh, I think I got.
So that should be.
Is that Kelsey? No, I see Kelsey at 1 in some of these. Okay, I got one now. That makes sense. This is right. Consensus. Well, obviously our top 3. Well, I'll say Hawkinson's at 4.
Yeah.
Laporta's at 5. Listen to this. Ingram's at 6 in this one.
Oh.
Njoku's at 7 though, right there.
Okay.
And then Andrews 8, Smith 9, Kelsey's 10. But again, this is consensus is
not
4
to say
that list favors Zach's opinion. Just saying.
I say it pretty matches it. I mean, I can hear him too higher, but nailed Kelsey on the head.
This has 4 people of rankings, and I will say 2 of the 4 people have Ingram at 10, and one guy has him at 2. So it's actually really weighted. He's Ingram at 2.
2?
So
that's
where,
crazy.
That's crazy. That's where I'm saying these rankings. Again, this is Fantasy Pros NFL staff. Like just an example because we really don't have.
Yeah.
We don't really have ADP yet. So trying to use things like that in those kinds of draft settings. But I will highlight Kelsey. Yeah, I mean, they have him more in the 8 range than where we had him. So, but again, I said I'd probably move Hawkinson over him. I'd be able to concede. I'd be willing to concede Kelsey to round where he is now. I think that's a bit valid.
Honestly, I'm more willing to put Ingram higher than 7, as in like 6. But like before, I'm willing to put Kelsey any higher than 6, if that makes sense. I think
So
Ingram.
you take Ingram over Kelsey.
I think I might, honestly. I have them right there. Like I think they're the exact same. I don't see one really higher than the other, but I think Ingram has I think he'll get more targets. I think he'll be more utilized.
He'll be more consistent for sure.
Yeah. He'll have more options or opportunity to be consistent too. He'll get those 10 or 8 targets, whatever.
I mean, if assuming like Rice is playing, Worthy and probably Marquise Brown is probably their number 3 right now.
Yeah.
Where does Kelsey fall in the pecking order? I think you got to say he's behind Rice.
He's
for
behind
sure,
Rice.
Right?
I think he's a 2, but he could, if Worthy comes out and is, their deep ball threat and he gets those long plays, that he could be the 3rd best option.
Drew, where do you think? Because you got Worthy in a lot of places. At the end of the season, he was like their main target. He was getting pretty consistent targets.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I look at Kansas City, I'm looking at pass volume is really my expectation, is that's going to stay consistent. I think the running game has I just don't think that's going to be their way to win games. And I suspect that he might be more of a 3 type this year, but I think the volume is still in that offense going to provide enough to put him in this range. Because again, we're talking tight ends here. I mean, it doesn't take again, if you're averaging double-digit points a game as a tight end, you're going to be top 6.
6, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I factor it in. And that's where, again, maybe again 4, a little aggressive, but we'll see how it all shakes out there. So
the top 3 are boring. We all had the same top 3.
Same order, though?
Same order, yep.
Okay.
I was going to put Kittle at 2, but I
was going to put McBride at 1.
Really?
Yeah. Honestly, like they were pretty close.
Yeah.
And McBride just had no touchdowns, right? Like you got to assume that he's going to get a few more this year. But
I thought Kittle was just more consistent. He only was getting 5 targets a game last year, which is why I put him at 3. He kind of fell off a little bit at the end when they weren't competing.
Yeah, he's like Kittle doesn't compete with either of those 2 target wise.
Yeah.
Your argument for McBride was one I feel too. I think both of those guys obviously I take over. I mean, well, just in terms of tiers too. I mean, I think they're more of a 1A, 1B than it's a 1, 2, 3.
For me, it was more if
but
the Niners are good and competing like they should have been, and they're all healthy like they were 2 years ago, Kittle could be a top 2 tight end this year. But if it's like last year where they don't really compete, they don't really give him the ball, like he's obviously number 3. But
I mean, also like if you look at he's not going to have a whole lot of competition for targets, right? Ayuk's going to miss majority this season.
Yeah.
He's got Pearsall and Juwan Jennings that he's got to compete with.
Yeah.
Which I guess is pretty similar to last year.
But they were just so hurt both sides of the ball last year. They were terrible. So if they're even like a 7 seed, 6 seed sneaking into the playoffs, like that kind of a season, he'll be more relevant this year. But then again, you're not demanding the 12 targets a game that Bowers does or McBride does. Like he's gonna be 3 probably, like no matter what. Maybe 4. I don't think he's worse than Laporta, but you never know. Laporta's 3rd year now, could be.
I think the only way Bowers and McBride don't end up 1 and 2 is if they miss time.
Yeah.
Like they go on IR.
Also, 3, 4, and 5 are all Iowa Hawkeyes. I just realized that. Kind of cool.
Tight end university.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking through our top 12. I don't hate it. I think it's
I think the biggest thing was just Kelsey Ingram for you guys.
Well, yeah.
I made the list. I was averaging them, and they were right down the list until number 10. Because I had Njoku at like 14.
Yeah. maybe, and I got to stop thinking Njoku's going to have this quarterback situation solved because, where we have him right now, consensus-wise, is probably the right spot, at 10.
I mean,
Maybe
historically, the
something-
Browns have not been great at
Yeah.
solving the
That's
why these
quarterback
lists-
situation.
That's why these lists, even if you have a strong opinion, they're still gonna like collectively come together, and
They collectively come
most
together
of the
nice.
time, most of the time they're accurate based on ADP or close at least.
So
Yeah.
here we go.
This list was a lot more controversial than I thought it would be, honestly.
I thought it would be just in terms of, we knew like with the top 8 guys, really between 4 and 8, you can always, in this case, Laporta, 5 and I'd say 5 and 10. There is room. I mean, there is room for ranking disputes. Well, I mean, 4 for Zach was kind of high for me. So
yeah,
I mean, there's tight ends like a very like tiered, just because like it's you got Bowers and McBride who are like the consistent target earners. Then you have Kittle who's like doesn't consistently earn as many targets, but he's still a consistent part of the offense and has touchdowns and like he's more like he's obviously not in the Laporta Hawkinson tier, but he's not in the Bowers McBride. And then you got like the middle tier that's like they'll have some 20-point weeks, but they'll also have plenty of like 7, 8, and then it's just the guys that are a crapshoot whether they got 4 points or 20 points.
Basically.
I'm wondering for Laporta because, quite frankly, he doesn't have 2 things I talk about or we've talked about that we've liked, right? He does not have a big red zone share. We haven't really seen that, nor does he have that big target share. So like we still have him at 4, and that's like consensus. That's where still a lot of people have him, but like
I think it's because he had a down year for him last year based on his rookie year, and he was still solid. Like I can't see him at his floor being lower than 6.
we expect some consistency, right?
Yeah.
Lower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. Do we think that everybody in Detroit can still be what they were last year?
Nah.
Like how big? I think that's gonna be the biggest story of the season is how much is that offensive coordinator change gonna affect it? Because like that is the one offense that had 5 fantasy relevant guys, like 5 skill guys that were fantasy relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, you look around the rest of the league, it's like 3 max.
How many years, like full years of games has Jameson Williams played? Has he played a full year of 18 games or 17 games?
Just last year, but I think he still missed 2
injuries and
he's never played 17.
No.
Well,
So
I
if
had
he
him
plays
high.
17, if he plays 17 games and they still have St. Brown and I don't know if Laporta is going to be ever top 3. He's a 3rd-year player. I can't really say that, but you never really know with the target share there.
I think
But Zach's right. There's not going to be 5 guys, 5 fantasy relevant guys. Probably.
Personally, I think it's going to be Williams or Laporta. I think one of those 2 guys is going to, or maybe both of them. They both just take a step back.
Yeah,
but
I mean, Gibbs also had an insane year and like receiving too. He's receiving back. St. Brown has been kind of, in all fairness, kind of plateaued the last like 2 years. Like we know what we're expecting of him. Jamar Chase, we knew what to expect, and he took that big next step. Like St. Brown kind of stayed right there.
I think that's kind of that's just the kind of player he is, though. Like he's not
consistently.
He's a slot guy. It's yeah. I mean, he's basically Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp's huge year, he had like 190 targets or something insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as long as St. Brown's at the,
I don't know.
he had to have heard. It's probably him or Michael Thomas, one of the 2.
I was thinking Michael Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, as long as St. Brown stays at like the 130 to 140 targets, I think he is what he is. But that's it's good.
Yeah,
consistently top 5.
We'll continue.
So can't really complain about that. Yeah.
For next week, do you guys want? I have a few options. So we could do, which would be very controversial. We can do top 10 defensive players overall.
Wow. I mean, just that would.
Or
I could just
or
see
we
that
could
one
do
going well.
power rankings top 30 teams and think who we think is the best team going into next year.
Top 30? So we're just going to drop 2 off?
Or 32, it's all right. I'm NBA brain right now.
They didn't
Or
make the
MLB.
list.
And MLB
Oh.
brain. Yeah.
It's like the Big Ten tournament. Oh, sorry, Nebraska. Right? Nebraska didn't make it, but they won the. Did they win the crown? The CBC?
They did, yeah. I think they won it. Yeah, I saw that.
So
We could
No,
do
not
either of
maybe.
those, or we could do like
we should do teams. That would be hilarious.
defensive positions is tough. That's why I just do like top
Top
10.
30 is a lot, Jared. I mean, that's like the whole episode.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
all
lot.
for it.
Well, we can do just teams. Top 32 teams. And just
Top 30. We could
we
do
could
that.
fit it
That'd
in,
be-
right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll breeze through kind of the
Yeah, we
the
won't
low
spend as
tier.
much time. Yeah.
I feel like that'll
Or
get
we
good.
could do like I don't know linemen. No, we could do top 10 kickers. We could do top 10. There's a few other.
boring. Teams are fun.
That's what I was thinking.
Anything other than fantasy or team-wise is
Yeah.
going to get kind of boring. 'Cause, like, we do defensive players. I don't know enough about any of them. Like,
Yeah.
You could do well, Zach. You would have a fundamentally sound top 10.
maybe.
We would follow suit, hopefully.
Right. I also had another idea where we could maybe try to do like so we've watched football since 2005, 6, 7, 8, around that area. We could do like top 20 players
You
of
did?
the last 20 years or
I
something.
wasn't
like
watching
that.
football when I was 3 years old.
Well,
No.
you
Tell you
know what I
that.
mean? Like we know players.
I started
like Randy Moss.
2010
We know
We
Randy
do?
or
Moss.
2009.
Well, yeah, but we know Randy Moss, who started playing in 05, 6, 7, 8, So we know like those kind of players. So we could do like top 20 players from 2010 to current. Something like that.
We could try.
Right? We could do something like
Yeah.
that. But for
I
next
don't know
week,
that I know enough about them that, like,
that's why it's
I'll
going to
have
be
an
interesting.
opinion.
Yeah, I
or,
want
like,
it to be
really
like
care.
interesting. We might have names that no one else has on our list where they're like, oh yeah, obviously they're top 10, but you probably forgot about them. It's
That'll be
makes it
fun.
interesting.
All right, let's read our top 12 2025 fantasy tight end rankings. Number 1, Brock Bowers. Number 2, Trey McBride. Number 3, George Kittle. Number 4, Sam Laporta. Number 5, TJ Hawkinson. Number 6, Travis Kelce. Number 7, Evan Ingram. Number 8, Tyler Warren. Number 9, Jonnu Smith. Number 10, David Njoku. Number 11, Mark Andrews. And number 12, Tucker Kraft. I was thinking which Jonnu Smith,
Yeah,
Did he
just forget
make
about
overall?
Ferguson, Kincaid, and Loveland. They're not important.
Yeah, we're just going top 12, just
Yeah.
rattling those off.
Yeah.
Tight end
I
one.
get my head used to it for the draft.
Wow.
Okay.
So
It really sits up on top of my head. God.
Has your head grown? Wouldn't put it past you.
got my
I don't
cheese
know,
head
but
ready.
it's like, looks
Yeah.
like a little like top hat or something that's just sitting up there.
Yeah. Wow. I have to
Here,
sit
this
next
is what you
that.
get to walk around
That's
with.
crazy. Yeah.
Under
That's
a
wild.
little over 2 weeks away. Oh, 15 days away. Wow.
Is it?
My God. It's getting close.
Yeah.
It is. All right. That'll wrap it here from both Zack Rausch's, Jared Valleskey, myself, Drew Skyberg, here on this Wednesday night. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, The Journey to Million, the perfect podcast for you.